Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken here, customer service and experience expert, back with another interview with Matt Gillin, the CEO of Relay Network. And today we're going to be talking about customer dormancy. What happens when the customer goes away? So before we get into the interview, I just want to share a thought. As I was reading through my notes and learning more about Matt's definition of customer dormancy, I thought about Ted Levitt, the senior professor at Harvard Business School, now deceased, wrote a book years ago titled Marketing Imagination. And in the book, he talked about the function of a business. Now, if I were to walk onto the street and ask 10 people, what's the function of a business? 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10 would say to make money. And actually, Dr. Levitt said that is not the function. That's actually the goal of a business. The function of a business is to get and keep your customers. Get means acquire the customer and keep the customer. And you do that through the right engagement. It could be the customer experience and the service you provide. And as you'll find out in just a moment, we've been talking with Matt at Relay Network, and that is also how you might engage them with a personal experience. So with that in mind, keeping the customer from going to dormant, it's all about the engagement. Matt, welcome to the interview.
Well, Shep, thanks for having me again. And I love that story because if you think about it, getting customers and keeping customers is something as humans we can all say, well, that makes sense. Here's the challenge. Majority of businesses are focused more on getting customers than they are on keeping customers. And what happens today with this new technology, the new age of technology, is businesses and their customers have never been further apart from a relationship perspective. Think about it. Self-serve, turn off my email because I'm getting bombarded. I do all the work on navigating portals. And the reality is there's a huge opportunity for businesses to dramatically impact their financials by spending an equal amount on keeping your customers. And the question is, well, how do I do that? If in a world where they don't pick up their phone, they don't answer their email, and they don't come to my portal, how do I engage with them? And the answer is pretty simple. You have to utilize new tools, and you have to engage with them with content that is relevant and interesting and beneficial to the customer. Majority of this interaction is not just to acquire a customer. Once you've got them, it's to sell them other things. That has to change.
And so many times the acquisition cost of the customer, it's very, very high. And in many cases, it's actually higher than the transaction that they make with you, which is why I like people to stop thinking about transactions and start thinking about interactions. This is the first interaction we're going to have with the customer who's making a purchase. We need more purchasing interactions. In between, we need to give them information, make them feel comfortable, confirm they've made the right decision to do business with us by giving them this feed and information. So we need to focus on something more than just the first transaction, making an interaction. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3. And once we get them into our cycle or their cycle of buying and they feel connected to us, I'm not going to say loyalty takes over, but definitely repeat business is there. Repeat business can lead to loyalty, but ultimately, and that's where we want to go, from a first step standpoint, we want to get them to want to come back the next time.
Yeah, you have to build trust. So here's what happens today. You bring a customer on and so in any interaction to become a customer, you're highly engaged. Doesn't matter what it is, a corner store, a bank, you're engaged because you are negotiating to become a customer. You establish a relationship. You've bought a product or service. Immediately, engagement drops. It's immediate. I've already bought the product or service that I was seeking as a customer.
And they're not even thinking about next time at this point.
They're not thinking about next time. They're not even thinking fully about what they just bought. So there's a huge opportunity for businesses to say, you just bought from me, you're my customer. Let me try to serve you and build a relationship with you and educate and guide you. So that's why I love financial services and healthcare. They're rich with opportunity. Anyone who opens up a bank account or a credit card or a student loan, any one of them is ripe for another product, but more importantly, needs to be educated and guided for their financial wellness through their life. And if you can engage with them and keep them engaged, they are dramatically less likely to go dormant. And dormancy is as good as churned. Dormant customers are costly to your business and they have no upside.
Yeah.
A dormant customer, disengaged customer is 56% more likely to churn than engaged. Think
Yeah,
about
I'll go back. We're not go back. I want to bring up a company, Netflix. Most of us probably, if we haven't subscribed to Netflix, we know people that have, or we've thought about it. Who doesn't know what Netflix is, right? They have got it done. Now they're a subscription business. Their model is we want you to pay month to month to month to month. They know when a customer goes dormant. But by the way, and let's talk about, the Relay Network feed is about putting content in front of them in a feed that looks similar to TikTok, Instagram, and other video feeds where it takes you from one video to the next, or one piece of content to the next. With Netflix, when they learn the type of movie or TV show you like, they will start putting more suggestions in front of you. That's exactly what you're talking about, creating a truly personal experience. And then what they also take a look at is whether you're engaging with them, whether you're actually using the Netflix product. They know down to almost, I don't know about the second, but definitely the minutes, that if you do not cross a threshold of use, the likelihood that you're going to churn out, leave Netflix as a subscriber, becomes high. Their goal at that point is to start feeding you information that will appeal to you. Hey, here's a new show that we just added. We notice you watch this. You might really want to watch that, because they need to get you back over that minute.
Yeah. Now that example is marketing, and it's 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the opportunity for businesses is to educate and guide, to build trust, and then do some marketing. So again, you can use the same tools, but if I'm not engaged, well, a way to get me engaged is to educate me. Let me learn about people like me, things that will benefit me. That's interesting, these things I didn't know. And I think that's a huge opportunity that's overlooked, that businesses have forgotten about in the digital age. The digital age has become all marketing. And I think there's a huge opportunity to feed content that is educational, informational, and beneficial solely for the purpose because you're my customer.
Yeah. So there's a term out there called content marketing, which is all about putting the right content in front of people, which in effect is a marketing strategy.
I like to talk to you, Shep.
I know, but the Netflix example that I just shared is overt marketing using a content strategy. What you're talking about is an educational strategy. So I want to shift the term from content marketing to a content experience. And then it changes everything, because in effect, even though the more you educate the customer, the smarter they get. The smarter customer tends to know what they want to buy. It's easier for them to make the decision. You create the confidence. And when you start to do that, again, you see repeat business, and ultimately it turns into loyalty, because why would they want to take a chance on doing business with anywhere or anybody else who doesn't know them as well?
Well, 100%. In any relationship, if you have a relationship where, in this case, the brand takes the time to educate and guide you through this financial journey that we all go through life, well, trust goes through the roof. And what happens is that relationship forges in a very human way. And it allows for what was prior to this deemed impossible, building personal relationships at scale with an individual. Really powerful.
Yeah. So, I want to go back to the very beginning of our conversation. We talked about Ted Levitt, senior professor at Harvard Business School. There's a stat that we're going to get to his idea of the function of a business. The 25 times stat. It's been said it costs 5 times more to get a new customer than to keep an existing customer. But you have a stat that says 25 times more. That's in some businesses, that's what it is. It's so expensive to acquire that customer. Don't take a chance. Put the right information in front of them, and don't just get the customer and acquire the customer, but maintain the customer.
Maintain them and maximize the financial relationship with that customer. It's just good business. You went back to you started the call. Get and keep your customer. And at Relay, we talk about get a customer, keep a customer, grow that relationship.
Yep. So, and the point of all that is, like Ted Levitt said, the function is to get and keep your customer. The goal is to make money. If you confuse the function, where would you say, what's the function of business? People say make money. If you confuse that function with the goal, you may not reach your goal.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this to wrap it up. If you engage with them properly and purely in the way that we've talked about, the goal will be achieved. They will stay longer and you will make more money.
Exactly.
And that's a fact.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights on this. Really appreciate it. So this is all about customer dormancy. That's what you don't want. You want to avoid it. You want to be the anti-customer dormant company. The way to do that is put the information in front of your customers. Give them the confidence, not just to buy from you, but give them the confidence in the education they have about what it is that you sell. It'll make them more engaged. It'll make them more interested in you. It'll create a trust factor with you. And the more a customer trusts you, the more likely they are to not just buy from you, but not consider anyone else. Matt Gillin, CEO of Relay Network, thanks for sharing your insights.
Shep, thanks for having me again. Great job.
All right, that wraps it up. Another great interview. Thank you very much for watching. This is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.